Hey there, everyone, and welcome to another astrology video. I'm Cassandra from CassandraTindall.com, and it's great to have you here. So this is a monthly overview video for November. Now, it's been a little while since I've done a monthly overview here on YouTube. It's generally something I just share with members of my Golden Circle Club. If you're interested about my astrology membership, all of those details are in the description below. But over on Instagram, I have had a lot of questions come through about this month. So obviously people are a little bit nervous about it. So I wanted to share a few insights and ideas around this month here with you today. So as far as November goes, it's kind of back to regular programming in the sense that we don't have Mercury retrograde anymore. Saturn and Jupiter are now direct. And so that was a bit of the main mover and shakers of last month. Mars was a key feature. It went through its cazimi in October, and it was a key player in both of the lunations. That is similar to November. We start the month with Mars now in Scorpio. So firstly, that's a fixed sign. So we've had Mars in Taurus in January, a bit of February. We had Mars in Leo mid-year, and now we have Mars in Scorpio through until around mid-December. So this naturally will activate Saturn in Aquarius and Uranus in Taurus. So Mars this month is a key feature for those reasons, and it's also a key feature because it's implicated in both of this month's lunations, one of which is an eclipse. So firstly, the arrival of Mars in Scorpio, it's definitely going to pave the path for the Saturn-Uranus square that will take shape in December. So we're starting to prime that territory, that sort of tension between rules and restrictions and limits versus liberation, freedom, and new things. So Mars in Scorpio is sort of tilling that soil again. It's priming us for more volatility, for more turbulence and more change, and this sort of tension point between the old and the new, which has been such a dynamic this year. Now, what the key feature is with Mars this month is that despite it being implicated in the squares earlier this year, this is the first time that Mars is in its domicile or its own sign. So Mars in Scorpio, of course, is more empowered than what it was in Taurus, in detriment, and Leo, where it's neutral. So we have Mars strong in Scorpio, grinding against Saturn in Aquarius. And so when we have this square aspect, there's this tension of compromise. And together, at best, this could bring a real nose to the grindstone energy. It can make you become more determined or focused, or really hone in with this eagle-eye precision and intensity on perhaps a goal or an outcome or a task that you might be undertaking. So that's the positive. At worst, this is going to present a huge battle of wills, okay? This might be sort of driven by fear or choices made around fear or limitations of some kind. And I don't really need to explain what I'm referring to in that sense. Mars and Saturn together can also bring this head in the sand quality, where you might just be doubling down on something and not seeing other things, particularly when it's in fixed signs. So it's a real kind of butting heads energy. So that energy peaks on the 10th in the Northern Hemisphere, and down here in Australia, that is more intense on the 11th. But to be honest, the whole energy sort of between, say, November 8 through till, say, around the sun's arrival in Sagittarius on the 22nd, 23rd is huge. So we have that that Mars square Saturn component. Then we have the eclipse. Okay, so the eclipse happens on the 19th, and that is in all of the time zones. But before I talk about the eclipse, one key feature around the Mars square Saturn piece as well. So we have Mars will come and square Saturn on the 10th and 11th, and then by the 17th, 18th, Mars will then make that opposition to Uranus. So this is a very intense, volatile, violent, turbulent, throwing bullets into the fire kind of energy. It is definitely going to bring disruption. It's going to bring unrest. This real push-pull energy is going to become really amplified. So volatility is a key component to this, plus a lunar eclipse in the mix. So there's so much going on. So I do expect an increase in violence, protest, general disruptions, and probably weather events as well. So on a more personal note, this is really going to activate the parts of our lives that we don't like change. Okay, so we all have fixed signs somewhere in our birth chart. Many of us have fixed planets. And so where we see fixed energy, this is really going to highlight where we like stability, where we like to have guaranteed outcomes. X plus Y equals Z type of stuff. But, there's going to be an anomaly here, an anomaly in the equation of events, particularly with an eclipse in the mix. So this particular eclipse is 27 degrees of Taurus. So the eclipse that happens on the 19th is a full moon. The eclipse is in Taurus, but you might realize that the nodes are still in Sagittarius and Gemini. So this is kind of a crossover eclipse where we're welcomed into the new nodal cycle at the same time we're starting to sort of edge out of the previous ones in Gemini and Sagittarius. So this eclipse is conjoined a fixed star called Algol. Now, if you've not heard of Algol before, hands down, unquestionably, it is the most feared and notorious fixed star in the sky. It is associated with the idea of Medusa's head and losing one's head. Okay, so there may be increased worry, there may be increased stress, there may be increased anxiety around this period. The feeling is really tense and electric. So naturally, that's going to kind of like rock the boat of, the fixed energy. It's not a comfortable place where we're asking or the fixed signs are being prompted or pushed or goaded into change. On the flip side, though, when we can really respect that raw, powerful feminine energy that Algol brings to the mix, there's also a lot of protection there. Okay, there can be, that fierce matriarch type archetype. She'll protect you and put you under her wing, but you mess with her and you're kind of on the outer, kind of reminding me of that woman from Game of Thrones that said, I'll tell Cersei I want her to know it was me. I forget her name now, but if you watched Game of Thrones, you know who I'm talking about. So there is that kind of energy with Algol there. She's very powerful. And this eclipse also opposes Mars. So there is just so much volatility. So it is a bit of a white knuckly energy coming through for sure. Now, when we're talking Mars square Saturn, Mars opposite Uranus, Mercury is also doing the same thing. So I think a lot of this volatility could be potentially driven around a new piece of information, intel, insight, a new idea, or things to do with logistics and planning could become part of the dynamic that kind of is the tipping point around this type of energy as well. So I think, Mercury is a little bit overlooked in all of this, but I do think that that planet will have a key component. So we might see something in the news that is, shocking or revelatory, and that might sort of, shift the whole paradigm or shift the whole narrative or change your ideas around something. So there is change, whether you like it or not. And when obviously like 2021 has brought so much fixed sign energy. And one thing that I found myself discussing with clients who are change resistant, and, I have some fixed stuff too, is we have options. And that option is we can consciously choose change, and then we're in control. And if we don't choose the change chooses us, and then we have no choice, and then we don't have control, and then we don't like it so much. So as we move through November, we are invited to start getting comfortable with discomfort. And that is, kind of my top tip for the month. So once we get through all the sort of eclipse and fixed sign, dramas, we then have the sun moves into Sagittarius, and that's the 23rd, 24th, 2nd and 3rd. And then, of course, Mercury will follow suit on the 24th and 25th. Now, both the Sun and Mercury will very quickly conjoin the South Node in Sagittarius. So we start to see the wind up now of our previous eclipse cycle. We have one more solar eclipse in December, but before that happens, we have the Sun and Mercury hit the South Node. So to me, I really love this. I think this is our chance individually to perhaps recalibrate our beliefs, our philosophies. So much has changed for each and every one of us. And as we get the Sun and Mercury pass over the South Node, we have the opportunity to perhaps release or let go or no longer carry ideas, philosophies, perspectives that were once true for us. So maybe the disruption and the change and the new information or intel or data is going to maybe challenge some cognitive dissonance. You know, the ability to change our mind is really so important, particularly when we're talking about these mutable signs as well. So as all this happens, Mars also becomes visible. So it will make an appearance. And so this is where Mars gets super empowered now. It's had its cazimi and it's now likened to the crescent moon phase for this 2-year Mars cycle. It's out there in the sky now. It's far enough away from the sun where it can be seen. It's in its own sign. By this stage, it's around, I think, 14 degrees of a fixed sign. So it's smack bang in the middle of a fixed sign. So it's like, right, staking its claim. I'm here, I'm visible. I've got something that I'm trying to do or share or tell. So I think this is going to be quite a, I've said this once before, but a very paradigm shifting type of energy. So I think this can be very cathartic, this particular last week of November. So when I'm saying last week, I mean that sort of final third where the sun enters Sagittarius. So it's definitely going to have a bit more of a lighter, brighter vibe. And what I really do like about the Sun Mercury over the South Node is that it is an opportunity to perhaps release, let go, do away with that heaviness. Sagittarius is a Jupiter ruled sign, and Jupiter has been in Saturn ruled signs for 2 years, apart from our little, preview of Pisces mid-year. So it can be a chance to let go of the limitations, let go of the fear, let go of everything that's gone on, and recalibrate and recreate our beliefs and philosophies and start to practice what it might mean to open up again. Maybe that's literally, maybe that's metaphorically, and to see opportunities with Jupiter in Pisces coming through in December. So this is a lovely, clearing of the slate final part of November. And then of course we've got that final eclipse in December, new moon on the South Node in Sagittarius, which will round out that particular eclipse cycle, but more on that next month. But I think it's start practicing with new paradigms, new beliefs, new concepts, and let go of perhaps the fear or the restriction or the containment, and practice what it might feel like to be expansive and hopeful once again. So I do hope that you get a few takeaways from this, and you might feel a little bit more excited about what November can bring. For me personally, I'm not afraid to sort of throw a little bit of Uranus in the mix and shake things up a little bit, particularly in the fixed signs where, we can get a little bit stuck and stagnant from time to time. But embrace the changes, practice doing little things differently. If you always have a roast chicken on a Sunday night, just go get a takeaway or something. Just doing the little things differently will really inspire you and show you how far you can come, even if that means just taking those baby steps. So if you like these kind of videos, if you like the insights and the tips and the practicalities on how you can work with the moving sky, I do invite you to join my Golden Circle. It's a great community of people. We share the insights. We do monthly monthly new moon calls. There's bonuses, special offers, and all sorts of things. I'll pop a link in the description below. You can find out more about it there. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you then. And I hope you enjoy the month of November. And please feel free to leave me a comment below and tell me what you are looking forward to, or maybe not looking forward to this particular month. All right. See you later.